Emma was only trying to hang Daniel's rain-soaked jacket on the chair when her fingers felt a thin folded paper hidden deep inside the pocket. The apartment was quiet except for the soft tapping of rain against the window and the low hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. She pulled the paper out without thinking, expecting nothing more than a grocery list or an old receipt from a gas station. But the moment her eyes reached the top of the paper, her chest tightened. The receipt was from an expensive restaurant in the city, a place couples visited for candlelight dinners and anniversaries. Her breath slowed as she read the details. 2 meals, 2 glasses of wine, dessert. The date printed at the bottom showed the same evening, just a few hours earlier. Emma felt a cold wave move through her body. Daniel never mentioned going out today. He came home like every other evening, quiet and tired, with rain on his shoulders and a quick distracted smile. The thought formed slowly but heavily in her mind. Someone had been sitting across from him at that table. Someone had shared that meal. Someone had laughed with him under warm lights while she waited at home, thinking he was still at work. The small piece of paper trembled between her fingers as footsteps echoed softly from the hallway. Daniel walked into the room with damp hair and calm eyes, but the moment he saw the receipt in her hand, his expression changed. Something unspoken filled the space between them, a silent tension that made the room feel smaller. Emma felt her heart beating harder with every second that passed. Questions rushed through her mind faster than she could control them. Who was the woman? How long had this been happening? How many quiet evenings had hidden the same secret? The rain outside grew louder as if the sky itself was holding its breath. Daniel looked at the receipt, then at Emma, and in that moment she saw something she could not immediately understand. It was not the look of a man caught in a lie. It was something heavier, something complicated. Something that made her stomach twist with both fear and confusion. Emma realized that whatever truth was about to come out would change everything she believed about her marriage. The fragile piece of their home stood on the edge of a single explanation, a single sentence. A single truth that could either break their relationship forever or reveal a secret powerful enough to save it. And neither of them yet understood that the small forgotten receipt trembling in Emma's hand was about to force a conversation that would expose years of silence, buried emotions, and a decision that could destroy their future or give their love one final chance to survive. The evening rain tapped softly against the kitchen window. The sound filled the small apartment with a quiet, restless rhythm. Emma stood near the sink. Her fingers rested on the edge of the counter. The smell of fresh coffee drifted through the air, yet the warmth of the kitchen did not calm her thoughts. Something felt strange that evening. Something she could not explain. Her husband Daniel had returned from work an hour earlier. He had greeted her with a quick smile, a quick kiss on the cheek. Then he walked straight into the bedroom. Emma noticed the silence between them. It felt heavier than usual, like an invisible wall growing thicker every day. They had been married for 6 years. 6 years of laughter. 6 years of shared dreams. But recently their conversations had grown shorter. Their smiles had grown tired, and the space between them felt wider than the hallway that separated their rooms. Emma dried her hands with a towel. Her eyes moved toward the bedroom door. Daniel had left his jacket hanging on the back of a chair in the dining area, a dark gray jacket, slightly wrinkled, still damp from the rain outside. Emma walked slowly toward it, not because she planned to search his pockets, not because she suspected anything. At least that was what she told herself. She simply wanted to hang the jacket properly. That was all. Her fingers touched the fabric. Cold, damp, heavy with the smell of rain and city air. She lifted the jacket. Something crinkled inside one of the pockets. A small sound. Soft, but loud enough to freeze her hand in place. Emma stared at the pocket. Her heart beat a little faster. She told herself it was nothing. Probably a receipt, or a grocery list, or some useless piece of paper. Still, she slipped her fingers inside. The paper felt thin. Folded. She pulled it out slowly. The kitchen lights reflected on the white surface. A receipt. From a restaurant. Emma frowned. She turned the paper closer to the light. The name of the restaurant stood at the top. La Mary Jane. A place she recognized immediately. An expensive place. A romantic place. The kind of place couples visited on anniversaries. Her eyes moved down the receipt. 2 meals. 2 glasses of wine, dessert. The total amount made her stomach tighten. Daniel never mentioned going to that restaurant. Not today, not yesterday, not this week. Emma felt a strange pressure inside her chest. Her mind started forming questions faster than she could control. Who went with him? Why he never mentioned it? While he kept the receipt, the apartment suddenly felt colder. The rain outside grew louder. Emma looked again at the receipt, the date printed near the bottom. Today, just 3 hours earlier. Her throat felt dry. She heard footsteps in the hallway. Daniel walked back into the living room. His hair was still damp from the shower. He stopped when he saw her standing there, standing very still, holding the small piece of paper. His eyes moved to the receipt, then back to her face. A shadow crossed his expression. Emma felt her heart drop. The silence between them stretched, long, sharp, heavy with questions neither of them had spoken yet. Emma raised the receipt slightly. Her voice came out softer than she expected. "Daniel, what is this?" Daniel stared at the paper. His face lost its color. For a moment he said nothing. The ticking of the wall clock filled the room. Emma felt a knot forming in her stomach. "Did you go to this restaurant today?" Daniel slowly nodded. The answer landed like a stone in the quiet room. Emma swallowed. "With who?" Daniel looked at the floor, then back at her. His lips parted, but no words came out. That silence hurt more than any confession. Emma felt anger rising inside her chest. Slow, hot, sharp. "Daniel, answer me." Her voice trembled now. "Who were you with?" Daniel took a slow breath. Then he walked toward the table. Each step felt heavy, measured, careful. He stopped in front of her. His eyes looked tired, not guilty. Not defensive, just tired. "I was there with someone important." Emma felt her stomach twist. Important. That word echoed inside her mind. Important enough to hide from your wife. Daniel closed his eyes for a moment, then opened them again. "I did not hide it. You did not tell me. You did not tell me." The difference did not comfort her. Her hands trembled slightly as she held the receipt. Her thoughts started racing. Images she wished she could stop. Another woman laughing across the table. Daniel smiling at her, 2 glasses of wine between them, the candlelight reflecting in their eyes. Emma forced the images away, but the pain stayed. Who was she? Daniel shook his head slowly. "It was not what you think." Emma almost laughed. A short, bitter sound escaped her throat. "People always say that." Daniel stepped closer. His voice lowered. "I was meeting a lawyer." Emma blinked. The words felt strange, unexpected. Her anger paused for a moment. Emma paused for a moment. "A lawyer?" Daniel nodded. "Yes." The silence returned. Emma stared at him. Her mind tried to understand. A lawyer for what? Daniel looked at the receipt again, then at her. His voice became even softer. "For our marriage." Emma felt the air leave her lungs. "For our marriage." Daniel nodded slowly. "I asked him about divorce." The word cut through the room like cold metal. Emma felt her chest tighten. Her vision blurred slightly. Divorce. The thought she feared. The word she never wanted to hear from his mouth. "And you had dinner while discussing it." Daniel looked ashamed. It was the only time he could meet. Emma gripped the receipt harder. Her hands trembled now. "So you plan to leave me?" Daniel shook his head quickly. "No." Emma stared at him. "You just said you talked about divorce." Daniel exhaled slowly. "I wanted to understand it. Understand how to leave." "No." His voice became stronger now. "Understand why we reached this point." Emma felt confusion mixed with anger. "What do you mean?" Daniel walked to the chair and sat down. His shoulders looked heavy, like he carried something invisible for a long time. "I felt that we were drifting apart." Emma remained standing, still holding the receipt. "We barely talk anymore," Daniel continued. "We eat dinner in silence. We go to sleep without touching." His voice grew quieter, "and every morning we wake up pretending everything is normal." Emma felt a painful truth behind his words. Still, she said nothing. Daniel rubbed his forehead slowly. "I asked the lawyer how marriages fall apart." Emma watched him carefully. The anger inside her slowly shifted, turning into something heavier, something more painful. "What did he say?" Daniel looked up at her. "He said most marriages end because 2 people stop noticing each other." The rain outside grew stronger. Thunder rolled somewhere far away. Emma lowered the receipt slightly. Daniel continued speaking. "He told me something strange." Emma waited. "He said that many couples save their marriage by accident." Emma frowned. "By accident?" Daniel nodded. "He said sometimes a small moment forces 2 people to finally speak honestly." Emma looked at the receipt in her hand. A small piece of paper. A simple accident. Daniel leaned forward slightly. "I plan to talk to you tonight." Emma's voice came out barely above a whisper. "You were going to tell me about the lawyer." Daniel nodded slowly. "Yes." Emma felt her throat tighten. Her eyes filled with tears she did not expect. "So the receipt was not a secret." Daniel shook his head. "I forgot it in my pocket." Emma stared at the paper again. Such a small thing. A thin slip of paper. Yet it shook her entire world. Daniel spoke again. "When you found it, I saw the fear in your eyes." Emma felt tears rolling down her cheeks now, and I realized something. Emma looked at him. What? Daniel's voice softened deeply. I realized I still care about losing you. The words hung in the air between them. Quiet, honest, powerful. Emma slowly sat down across from him. The receipt rested between them on the table, a silent witness to everything they avoided saying. Emma wiped her tears with the back of her hand. Daniel, I thought you were seeing someone else. Daniel shook his head immediately. Never. Emma felt the tension inside her chest slowly release, but another question remained. Then, why did you not talk to me earlier? Daniel sighed. I was afraid. Afraid of what? Afraid that you already stopped caring. Emma felt a sharp ache in her heart. She leaned forward slightly. I never stopped caring. Daniel looked at her carefully. Asking a lawyer about divorce scared me, Emma whispered. It scares me too. Daniel nodded slowly. I do not want our story to end like that. Emma looked again at the receipt, then back at him. The rain outside began to calm. The apartment felt quieter now, almost peaceful. Emma took the receipt and folded it slowly, then placed it on the table again. Her voice came out gentle. Maybe this small piece of paper saved us. Daniel looked at it too, then at her, and for the first time in many months, they both spoke with complete honesty, and the conversation that followed lasted deep into the night, revealing things they had buried for years, and slowly, carefully, their marriage began to breathe again. The rain had almost stopped by the time Emma and Daniel finished speaking. The apartment felt different now. Not lighter, not perfect, but honest. The folded receipt still rested on the table between them, quiet and ordinary, yet powerful enough to shake the walls they had built around their feelings. Emma looked at Daniel for a long moment, studying the tired lines on his face, the hesitation in his eyes, and the sincerity in his voice. For months, she believed their distance meant the love between them was fading. Now she realized something more frightening had been happening. They had simply stopped speaking about the things that mattered most. Daniel slowly reached for the receipt and turned it in his fingers. It looked so small in his hand, just a thin piece of paper with printed numbers and ink, yet it had forced the truth into the open. I thought about walking away, Daniel admitted quietly. Emma felt the words strike her heart, but she did not interrupt him. I believed maybe we were already broken, he continued. But when I saw you holding this receipt, and the fear in your eyes, I realized something I almost forgot. Emma's voice came out softly. What did you realize? Daniel looked directly at her. I realized losing you still scares me. The words hung gently in the quiet room. Emma felt her chest tighten with emotion she had buried for a long time. Not anger, not resentment, but love that had been hiding under silence. She reached across the table and placed her hand over his. Her fingers trembled slightly. Losing you scares me too, she whispered. Daniel squeezed her hand carefully, as if afraid the moment might disappear. The rain clouds outside slowly moved away, and a faint glow from the streetlights slipped through the window. For the first time in months, they sat together without pretending everything was fine. They spoke honestly about the loneliness they both felt, about the small arguments that slowly grew into quiet resentment, about the nights when they wanted to talk but chose silence instead. Each confession felt painful, yet strangely healing. The receipt remained on the table like a reminder of the fragile moment that forced them to face the truth. Emma finally picked it up again and looked at it one last time. A strange smile appeared on her face through the fading tears. Imagine, she said softly, our marriage almost ended because we stopped talking. Daniel nodded slowly, and it almost got saved by a receipt. Emma folded the paper neatly and placed it inside the drawer beside the table. Not as evidence of suspicion, but as a reminder of the night when honesty returned to their home, when fear turned into understanding. When silence finally broke, Daniel stood up and pulled Emma gently into his arms. For a moment, neither of them spoke. They simply held each other while the last drops of rain tapped softly against the window. The future was still uncertain. Problems would not disappear overnight, but something important had returned to their marriage. The courage to face the truth together. And sometimes that courage is enough to save a love that almost disappeared.